welcome everyone to the Newman City Council regular meeting, September 22nd, 2020. Notice this meeting will be held in accordance with Executive Order N-29-20 issued by California Governor Gavin Newsom on March 17, 2020. The Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 5450 ET-SEQ, and the Federal Americans with Disability Act. This meeting will not be physically open to the public. All members of the public may participate in the meeting video conferencing at 987-821-92045 and via telephone conferencing by calling 669-900-6833. Meeting ID 987-8219-2045, and will be given the opportunity to provide public comment. With that, if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Murray, would you do the honors of the invocation?
Certainly. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for the opportunity to meet and serve our community. We pray your blessings on this meeting, on our community, and on our county as we proceed through this devastating COVID. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Murray. Could we have roll call, Michael?
Councilmember Day,
Present.
Councilmember Graham,
Here.
Councilmember McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia, Mayor Martina.
Here. Move on to item 5, declaration of conflict of interest. I have none.
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 Okay, moving on to item 6 was ceremonial matters. There is none tonight. Item 7, items from the public. These are non-agenda items. At this time, the public will be given the opportunity to provide any public comment regarding any issue. And Tom, do you see anyone that wants to provide any information or public comment?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
This is Hannah. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, then we're going to move on to item 8, which is consent calendar. Waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the September 8th, 2020 meeting.
I move that we approve the consent calendar as read.
I'll second that.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, first and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with 1 absent. Number 9 is a public hearing. There is none tonight. Moving on to item 10, which is regular business. A, adopt resolution number 2020, next number, a resolution authorizing the city manager to finalize and execute a 5-year agreement with Axon to purchase 15 body-worn cameras and related services along with a budget adjustment to fiscal year 2021.
Good evening, Mayor. I'll take this one. Before you tonight is a item to purchase body-worn cameras. We discussed this previously at council meetings, and in the prior years, we were reluctant to make the move because of technology, and we weren't real sure how the court systems were going to view body-worn cameras in the rulings. So we kind of waited and continued to observe what everyone else was doing. Many other agencies purchased cameras from other vendors other than Axon, but the majority went with Axon. We noticed that most of them that purchased outside of Axon came back to Axon. So we continued to research Axon and did a few testings with them. We had some concerns about money issues with purchasing equipment as technology advanced, and Axon actually answered a lot of those questions with this agreement, which is a 5-year agreement where we get at year 2.5, we get all new equipment, and at year 5, we get new equipment. So if they come out with a new product before then, we will be sent that new product. If not, we'll just get refresher products. They also have a warranty on their equipment with a no questions asked. So no matter what happens to the cameras, they will take them back or fix them for us. So you received a quote with the 5-year agreement and the breakdown with a total cost of $86,580.74 from Axon. Well, prior or after submitting this staff report, Axon realized that they had left an item out of that we requested be put in there, which is a live feature. And they resubmitted a quote yesterday. And not only did they add the additional item that we wanted, but the price for the total project went down by about $1,200 for a new total of $85,738. Part of our other concerns was with our records management system and tagging each video to each incident that would have to be saved. There is a feature that we will be purchasing if this agreement is approved that auto tags all of our videos for the officers, which will save a lot of staff time. Also, some of our concerns were editing a video and staff time for that. Axon has made great improvements in that area with the redacting option, which a lot of the redacting is done by the computer system. So in conclusion, staff would recommend that you guys approve this purchase agreement, and we will begin our transparency and better officer safety in this category by wearing body-worn cameras. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
When would delivery happen?
You're comfortable?
Let me mention this. I think that I spoke about this maybe about a year or so ago, that I have a question in reference to body cams for police officers. And I think at that time, you guys were interested in some kind of helmet or something. I think all across this nation, police officers are being protected legally and then protected in reference to them being on the street and at their workplaces. I think that basically it's a good move that you're doing it, but I think you guys should have had those cameras years ago. And another question is that with the price that you're talking about, is that compatible with the prices across this nation? That seems like a lot.
It is very comparable across the nation. Everyone that goes through Axon pays a kind of a set standard. They have kind of this built-in models that you can choose from with 4 or 5 different steps on each model.
So this is Councilman Graham, and curious on when they would come in. And real quick before you answer that, I was actually one of the guys. I use cameras at my work, so these exact cameras, and I think they're a great piece. For a small city, they're hard financially to be able to do them because of the cost, and that's why I was, at the time, I wanted to wait a little bit longer for the case law, like we said, to play out, because there were some case law issues about privacies, because these cameras do fall under the Freedom of Information Act.
Right.
So it's very difficult. So a lot of videos you want to be able to see, but some of them you shouldn't. Some stuff is very private for some victims, and that's the problem with the cameras, and that's why we were waiting for case law to play out to see which way that would fall. And then along those same terms, we are kind of hoping some grants would come down from the state or feds to make these more permanent across the board. and it doesn't look like they came because the major expense at the end of the day is the storage. But we're to a point where we can't afford not to have them anymore. So when would these go live, do you think, Chief?
We believe that we can get them, if it's approved tonight, we can get them live before November. Axon was very anxious with the turnaround, and then with just our IT setting them up, which is basically a plug and play. But the RIMS conversion, with our records management service, might take a couple weeks to get in place. We just have to figure that component out, but we believe before November.
And the RMS component of that is very valuable because I can tell you, officers get busy, they get on the run, and they forget to tag the videos properly. And that RMS system works directly, so they don't even have to think about it. It just does it on its own when the cameras are docked and downloaded.
Correct. And another key feature that we really liked about this system is the GPS monitoring. So we can tell where an officer is in an emergency situation. Say we had something going on or an officer's in foot pursuit, not giving out locations, we could find that officer if we needed.
Right.
And the other is the gunshot detection. So if you're close and gunfire does happen, and say you're the victim as an officer of the gunfire, your camera will automatically turn on. So we really like those features for safety purposes.
I'd like to reiterate Councilman Graham's comments. We did seriously talk about cameras about 2 years ago, and it was the conclusion of the entire council at that time that we needed to be sure that case law was going to be something that we could deal with without a bunch of lawsuits and that kind of thing. We also, the technology was fairly new, and so now there has been a lot of effort spent on the technology. So I concur with you, Chief, in that now is the time to do it. A couple of years ago, it probably was not. So good timing for, I think, for the city and for the council.
I would
Is there
what
opportunity
Marie
for,
just-
I'm sorry, two of you were talking.
this is Timothy Parker. I'm listening in, dialed in with Zoom, and to the mayor and to the council. Chief Richardson, being one of the early...
Mr. Parker, this is not open to comments to the public at this time. So in a few moments, if you'd like to make your comment, we'll finish with that, but we haven't opened it to the public yet. Thank you, sir.
Who's controlling the people coming in on the phone?
Should be doing that.
Hannah, you there?
Mayor, yes, Mayor, I'm here. I've muted that individual. So
Thank you.
yes, I'll be assisting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, with that, is there any further questions from the council? There being no further questions, I'll open it to the general public for any comments.
We go back to Mr. Parker. Oh, Hannah.
I've asked to unmute. I've sent him a
Yes.
message. There we go.
Sounds like that was my cue. This is Timothy Parker. Yeah, I just wanted to comment briefly and commend Chief Richardson and the city for deploying the cameras at this time. I'm one of the earlier agencies that had the Axon cameras, and there was a lot of glitches I can attest to. We dated back in 2009 after the post-Oscar Grant shooting in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so I know it was discussed a couple of years ago, and I recall attending a meeting that eventually, the eventuality is that there would be additional funding. So I'm too glad to see that it's coming to fruition to our town. The one question I did have, Chief Richardson, was in terms of policy, in terms of moving forward with how the cameras would be activated and in use. And I heard you describe how it would be automatically activated upon removal of the duty weapon. Is there additional policy that you've considered or some boilerplate from other agencies that you're going to have for your officers in regards to the use of the Exxon camera?
Yes, we use, and it's escaping me right now, but we have a policy manual on this. I can't think of the company to save my life. Oh, Lexapol.
Lexicon.
Lexapol.
We use Lexapol for our policies, which most of that stuff is already covered. We are probably going to mirror most agencies where if you go out on a call, you'll turn your camera on at this point, is what we see.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Lexapol's, this is Councilman Graham. Lexapol's policy is pretty much any contacts and then any code 3 runs is what Lexapol covers. So pretty much all contact and all action during the work shift.
Okay,
Well, that's going to do a lot for the safety of our officers.
is there any further comments from the public regarding this issue? If not, I bring it back to the council for direction.
I move that we adopt resolution
I'll move.
2020 next number, a resolution authorizing the city manager to finalize and execute a 5-year agreement with Axon to purchase 15 body-worn cameras and related services along with the budget adjustment to fiscal year 2020 and 2021, and that to incorporate Chief's new cost that he presented to us.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On to item B, update for Northwest Newman project options. Michael, that's probably.
Yes, I'll take this, Mayor. Thank you. So it was at our September 8th meeting that the council accepted the results of the Measure R, which was a special mail ballot for our registered voters within the Northwest Territory, as we had proposed that for annexation. Unfortunately, we did not get the 50+1% majority. So that annexation application has died. At that meeting, the council asked me to pursue other options and how we could potentially move forward with it, with another, talk to LAFCO and see if there's opportunity for another application. I did talk to LAFCO. We do have the right to submit another application. So what we've done so far as a staff, and then we'll throw this back at council and you can tell us where we need to be. We went ahead and we talked to LAFCO staff a little bit about what the application looked like and where we thought we had support from property owners, because we had heard some property owners. Based upon the information that I got, I submitted a map to you. It's kind of a Google Earth map. You'll see an area that is outlined in orange. The area outlined in orange is a total of 14 properties. Those 14 properties represent just over 62 acres, which was a little bit more than half of the original application. The original application was 121 acres, so just a little bit more than that. And again, there's 14 properties out there, and there's 12 different property owners that own those 14 properties. So what we've done is we've submitted letters to each of those property owners, letting them know that there's a potential that the council is considering a new application, and their property would be included in a revised application because we want to see if they support their property being annexed into the city. At this time, we've heard from 3 property owners who own 4 properties out there, and they support coming in. And the 3 big, large landowners out there. And we've heard from 2 more, then we think that we're going to actually get a formal letter from them as well. So we've also submitted, wrote letters to 3 property owners, and those property owners, 2 of them are along Highway 33, and 1 is at the corner of Jensen and Fig. And we just basically asked them, look, we're not sure where you stand. We don't have you currently included in this, draft boundary. If you would like to be included, please feel free to contact us, and we'll see about getting you included. We have not heard back from any of those 3 property owners at this time. And then the remaining properties, which were generally the properties that were west of Fig and north of Jensen, there's that small little residential enclave there. We've heard from one property owner who owns 2 properties there. He was in support of the annexation. However, I did identify to him that the chances of him being included were going to be difficult, just because he was kind of on the westernmost front of that, and there'd be a lot of properties in between him and there, and it didn't seem like a lot of those properties in that area did not want to be included. And then you have the properties that are on the northeast corner there of like Stir and Highway 33, and you see there's 1, 2, 3, I don't know, there's probably about 8 or 10 properties in that general area there. And we know that we had a lot of opposition from property owners and or elect voters in that area. So they've all been left out. We have not heard from any of them. Our letter, as you saw in there, included basically saying you have been excluded. Please let us know if we've gotten that wrong. And we have not heard from any of those. So to kind of summarize, we've heard from 3 property owners within the orange boundary. They own a total of 4 properties, and they all support being included in a revised application. And we expect we're probably going to hear from at least another 2 property owners in that area. We have not heard from any of the 3 who we asked for direction on. So we would, at this point in time, again, we're going to bring it back for formal application later. At this point in time, I don't see modifying the orange boundary to include those. And then the ones that we excluded, again, I don't anticipate we're going to hear that they want to be included. So with that, it's kind of a rough draft on where we're at. I did talk to LAFCO. Sarah, she's the executive director there. She looked at this revised this draft boundary here, and she thinks that LAFCO could support that application there. If this was the boundary that we ultimately decided, the council ultimately decided is, there's ways to develop the infrastructure, both transportation and underground infrastructure, meaning water, sewer, storm drainage, to supply all that infrastructure to these properties here, and to have a circulation system that works, that could come off a Stir Road and go all the way to Jensen without actually going down Fig all the way. So with that, I'll be looking for some direction from the council. If the council is supportive of what they're seeing today, we could bring back another proposal, a formal proposal to you at your next meeting. You could take a good look at it and decide whether or not you want to file an application to LAFCO under this revised boundary. So with that, I can answer any questions you may have.
This would, this is Councilmember Day. This would give us the opportunity to deal with Jensen Road then, so we could widen and pave that road.
You're correct, Councilmember Day. Yes, if this boundary was able to go through, we could get 2 full travel lanes down Jensen Road from Fig Lane out to Highway 33 and allow for safe traffic movements in that area.
As you're looking forward,
Go ahead, Mary.
excuse me, as we're looking, that's all right. As we're looking forward, unfortunately, when we had the vote, it was, a lot of the voters were not property owners. And so they were people that were making decisions for the property owner, which was not really a wise thing, but it was the process. So if we have sufficient property owners to move forward with this by the 30th, I'd like to see us move forward. But I would like to also make it clear to those that are not included that coming in doesn't give them the benefit of any of the activities that we had offered to the property owners prior to the vote. So we need to make sure those things are made clear as we move forward. That's my opinion.
Fair enough.
I wanted to say too, is that if that two lane happens, is that the area where we're going to put a stoplight or a motion light or something in that area?
So ultimately, Caltrans will give us the okay of whether or not we can put a traffic light there, Councilmember McDonald. But there is an ultimate plan that at Highway 33 in Jensen, Sherman Ranch, or Sherman Parkway, yes, the ultimate plan is to have a traffic signal at that location.
Great.
But ultimately, the timing of it is approved by Caltrans. So, but we will follow their standards, and at the appropriate time, a traffic signal will be installed at that location.
Great. That sounds great.
Is there any other comments from the council? Being none, I'm going to open it up to the public for any comment.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is Timothy Parker, 661 Balsam. I did have one comment for staff in particular, given the nature of the vote, and I understand and listen to Councilman Day, that the issue that you were having was it wasn't the property owners versus the registered voters and how the voters voted. Looking to move forward under these adoptions that you're currently articulating, is that not circumventing what the voters have stated, that they didn't want the annexation? And I understand that you're excluding the ones that you think that aren't really the ones that want to buy into moving forward with an annexation with the downscale 62 acres. But are you not circumventing the process of voting and what the people have stated?
I don't. Mr. Parker, I don't think we're trying to go around the voters on that one. Again, that's why we've kind of sent out these letters to really gauge the support or opposition from the property owners on this proposal. To date, we haven't heard from any property owners inside this new boundary that they do not want their property included. So, I mean, I guess that's another way of looking at it. We're not trying to circumvent them. We're still trying to work with them and giving them proper notice that, hey, your property is being considered for annexation. What are your thoughts on it? We want to hear from you. We want to be as transparent as possible. And again, we have not heard from any property owners that have voiced opposition to that. So I think the transparency from staff's perspective, the transparency is there because we have, again, notified all the property owners of the potential to be included in this and given them the opportunity to voice their either support or opposition to.
Mr. Parker, I would also comment to you that if you were a property owner in that area and your tenant made the decision for you, would you accept that?
Anyway, if there's no other comments, I'm going to bring it back to the
Excuse
council.
me. Excuse me, Mayor. We have David who has his hand up. I'm going to unmute him now. David, can you hear me?
It looks like, David, it looks like you're still on mute. Maybe there's a button on your, there you go.
Okay, David, you're good. You're
Cannot
good.
hear you.
*9 if you're appearing on your phone.
Is there any other comments?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is Maria Sequeira. I am the assessor with Central California Irrigation District. And what the reason I am making a comment is I had submitted a email to Michael explaining that the new direction that is being taken, it's creating an island within our district, and that is against our bylaws. So I know our manager has spoken to Michael as well, and it's something that we would like to work with the city to make it work for everyone. But the way the design is done currently, the way it's set up, it is setting up an island within our district, and that is against the bylaws and against the rules.
I don't know the bylaws and I don't know the rules, so I can't comment.
So Mayor,
I
I have talked to their the general manager, Mr. Martin, Jarrett Martin, on this issue, and we've discussed this a little bit. There, what she's indicating is there's 3 parcels along Highway 33, basically that runs on the south side of Jensen, but front on Highway 33 there. There's an orchard, there's the one with the White House, and then there's the one right next to the convalescent hospital. Currently, only one of those properties takes water. All the irrigation features could be left in place, and because there's water downstream, anyways, that we would need to leave those features in place. Again, I had the conversation with Mr. Martin yesterday, and we're going to continue that conversation as we move forward. There is how this really works as an island. I guess you can say catty corner, because on the north side of on the east side of Highway 33, just on the north side of Sherman Parkway there, that is also CCID property that gets CCID water. So
exactly.
yeah, there's some little gray area there as to if it's an island or a peninsula, one or
Right.
the other in there. But with
And
that
also
being
the
said,
convalescent hospital, and we don't know why, and the city probably doesn't know why, but they are both the old convalescent hospital is still within CCID as it is in the city. So it is in 2 districts, so that it would be a good time now to clean all that up. That is something we had spoken about, cleaning up areas that's in the city and it's also in the district. So, and I know we've spoke, Michael, about it, and I know Jarrett, we were talking about it, and it's something that he's bringing up to the board tomorrow just to inform them of what's going on. But I just wanted to make sure that that this is brought up tonight, that the island, it's something that it cannot happen. So we have to try to work it out within each other to make it work. And I think there is ways that we could work with the city of Newman. I think there is ways to make it work, but the current design that came in, it just would create an island, and it would be a problem.
so Mayor, just point of clarification. So the issues that Mrs. Sequeira bringing up are internal issues for CCID. They are not necessarily issues that were brought up by LAFCO. And this particular one, we've worked with LAFCO to try to come up with a development pattern here that works to the best of it we could. As you know, we've tried to do good planning and incorporate all of these properties before, but at this particular point in time, we just have some property owners that are not comfortable moving forward with their properties being part of the annexation, and so that's why those 3 are left out at this time. So, but It's not like we chose to go this direction. We tried to do what we thought was good planning originally, and include all of that. And it's not there. So, but again, I'm going to be having another conversation with Mr. Martin, Jarrett Martin. There is no formal action going to be taken tonight by the council, Ms. Sequeira. So we still have a little bit more time before the council takes the formal action on this. But
But thank you.
We just want you to know that we have tried to do the best we can, and we can work with Mr. Martin again on doing some cleanup work on some properties that are still in the city that actually are in CCID as well. So
Yes, we truly appreciate it. And CCID is, I mean, we are open to anything that can help the city to make, of course, make your project go forward. We are here for the farmers, but we also understand where the city stands. So we just want to inform what we saw, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. And thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies, and have a good evening.
Thank you, and you're very welcome.
Mayor,
With that-
it appears that David might maybe unmuted, and I was hoping we could circle back to David. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. It's really, you garbled quite a bit. I don't understand what you just said.
David,
Mayor?
can you speak at this time?
Maybe David should have called in.
Is there any other comments to be made, Tom?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make one additional comment. This is Timothy Parker. I'll direct this to Michael in terms of the downsizing of the original project from 121 acres to 62 acres. The one question that I did have, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but sometime in the mid-2000s, around 2005, 2006, we finalized our general plan update. Is that an accurate date that you recall, around 2006,
yeah,
I think?
it was around 6 or 7. Yeah, it was right around 2006. You are correct.
So given that, and we're encroaching 14 years, 15 years since that was done, and what the community was stating at the time, moving forward in the way that you're discussing, which I'm a little apprehensive about, but is that not like trying kind of piecemealing it? And I understand that the idea was to try to move forward with the project as a whole, and that was voted down. But given the circumstances that are being discussed here, and notwithstanding Jensen Road, because that is something that we know that the city's been trying to deal with for a number of years. But isn't it kind of contradictory to what we've stated, the general plan, and how it should move forward, that we're kind of like now trying to piecemeal it?
I don't think so, Mr. Parker, and I'll tell you why. When you look at the general plan, the general plan area is broken out into boundaries, which are called master plan areas, as you know. And so we've done a master plan for this area, for that area that was identified in the general plan. Now, we think it's good planning to implement that in stages. Instead of annexing 300 acres at one time, we're going to let the ag continue to be ag until it's time for it to develop. So therefore, we think it's good planning to go ahead and, to allow the ag to continue to thrive. Ag is, the backbone of our economy here in Stanislaus County. So we're allowing that ag to continue to thrive until development moves in that way. And when it does, development does move in that direction and get there, there is a master plan in place already that dictates how that's going to develop and what the obligations of the developer are at that particular point in time that they want to come in and be included with it. So I think that you're building it out in phases is actually probably a good idea instead of trying to piecemeal it. Piecemealing it would be as if the city just came in and said, we're just going to do these 62 acres, but there's no master plan to kind of tie it all together. by having the master plan and tying this all together. And again, as you know, the master plan spells out where the infrastructure is going, what size infrastructure it's going to be, how it's going to be laid out, where the roads are at. So as you know, having that master plan in place, I think it's an appropriate way to move forward with 60 acres. I think that's a good jump start. It'll get the city moving forward and creating some business park in the area. As you know, there's economic activity going on the west side, and so being able to try to capture some of that would be good for us.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. If there's no further comments, Michael, this does not
Mayor, I
require-
think Mr. Carey's trying one more time to get on. Does it look like he's getting through, Hannah?
I'm looking, sir, if this is you calling in.
Call again?
Hello, does that work?
Yes.
That worked.
Oh, hello. Hallelujah.
Need to sign off the
I'm
computer.
on the video conference, but that wasn't working. I'm sorry. By the way, I tried to weigh in on this earlier, and the agenda notice for this meeting is 6 p.m. On the council's website calendar, it's slated for 7 p.m. So the public is kind of at a loss when and how to weigh in for this meeting. On that same note, the public, the community has been out of the link. This is very important. On the Newman Council's website, meetings have not been published for over 2 years, as well as on Comcast Channel 7. Traditionally, they're published. The community is just not getting the knowledge to weigh in or even understand what's going on with this Northwest project. And in that sense, this is very vital. I object. Secondly, key point, I am here. I don't come to these meetings often, but I do when it's important. Mr. Parker, candidate for mayor, he knocks on doors, he knows the community well, and I and a number of other people were planning to come to the LAFCO meeting scheduled for tomorrow as a follow-up to the election, which transpired. Unfortunately, it was canceled. So that's why we're weighing in tonight, Mr. Martini. What we wanted to do, we were disturbed that the Newman City Council has totally disregarded the results of this last election. They agreed to participate in the election. They hoped for a better result, but there was a resounding defeat by the registered voters of this community, 26-3, something on that order. Now they don't like the result and they want a second cut. Now they're going around the LAFCO, like LAFCO doesn't exist, like the election never happened. Now they're going to the landowners and working around the registered voters and the people who live there or do business, conduct business there. This is a threat to the registered voters in various ways. I seriously request to LAFCO, when you do get together, that you put a moratorium to this whole entire Northwest project, not just phase one. The entire thing is being so mishandled. The public has not voted, is out of information, does not have the information. Whatever voting has transpired or input has occurred, we haven't been adequately informed. And we're coming to having an election with a new city council, a new mayor, and contrary to his belief, the city manager does not run the city council. It's the other way around. The city council runs the city manager, or at least it should be that way, but maybe it's backwards. So I seriously request from LAFCO to put a moratorium to this entire issue, to the entire project, In addition
Just
to,
about ready to go
maybe
on.
through,
Try and keep the noise down.
maybe further, that the well project should be put into a moratorium. I don't think right after the election, the city council rushed through to put out a contract to put up this well. It's very expensive to this entire community. And I think this should be put into a moratorium, and this should be voted on. This is entirely a city council initiative. It is not a community or a voters initiative. It benefits developers, potential developers, and businesses, but we don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are. This is very much like the Crow's Landing project that was such a bust. We don't know. The city council talks about jobs that are non-existent. Who's going to get these jobs? What jobs? What businesses? This is entirely unnamed, unknown, and they are the beneficiaries. This is speculation on the part of the city council at the cost, the speculative cost of the residents. It's wrong, entirely wrong. Our water bills have doubled this past year. During this economic hard times of COVID-19 uncertainty, people are suffering. They're out of work nationwide, and this especially in Newman, which is a poor valley ag town. That's all for now, but I would appreciate your consideration, Mr. DiMartini, both as a member of LAFCO and on the county supervisors. Thank you.
Any other comments at this time?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah said that we don't have any comments at this time, Mayor. It's back to the council.
Okay. There is no, this is just for information tonight, right, Michael? You want to vote on it?
Well, we don't need a vote. I'm just the general, just kind of maybe general consensus of what the council thinks of this draft boundary in the 62 acres.
Well, personally, I think that, how my feelings are that if we don't look for projects like this, and this city is not going to make it, and it will die. And people don't seem to understand that. If they think that they can live in a small town and there's no growth, well, guess what? If you don't increase your population, you're not going to get a lot of things that people would like to have in the city of Newman. Be it a Taco Bell, something like that. It's just that they're not going to come here. So my opinion is we do the best we can as far as making it impossible for us to be able to grow. Good growth is important to the city, and it's healthy.
I'd like to add that
Recommended.
I think that with Michael's meetings that are coming up is that we give Michael a chance to see if he could make way with this. David brought up some some good advice, in reference to council and some of the things that by him being a resident here, knowing that we need to deal with. I think we need to give Michael a chance in terms of trying to move forward with this and see what comes out of it. Sometimes sitting down at the table can, be the true answer that we need.
And I'd like to point out that I haven't checked the internet for the recent meetings since we went to Zoom. I know they're all available to people because I know a lot of people that log on and listen to them at minimum. But I know all of our meetings prior to COVID, everything has been video recorded and open to the public, and we've covered this topic multiple times, including with meetings with people that were in these areas addressing their concerns. So to say that this stuff has not been addressed and not been open to the public is not correct at all. It has been very open and very upfront to the public, and it's part of the overall long-term plan that was voted on by the voters back in 2005, 2006, that was approved for this master plan and this growth, and everything along the way has been updated and open to the public. Michael, have these Zoom meetings been uploaded?
Yes. They'll be uploaded.
So all the meetings. Yeah, I know the video ones were
Minutes of our
uploaded with
meeting
it.
posted.
So saying that the video meetings are done in secret and they weren't available is incorrect and inaccurate.
Well, try to make a point, that's what you say. You don't tell the truth. If you tell the truth, then you're not going to be able to make your point. Bottom line.
And
What's
water
that?
bills have not doubled last year. That's a bunch of stuff.
Okay, we have just about killed that one.
Please proceed.
Okay.
Are you ready
Fair
to
enough.
move on?
I'll get
Are
something.
you
I'll
ready to
get
move
this,
on to item 11? Michael?
No, fair enough, Mayor. I have direction.
Okay, great. Okay, item 11, item from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim D. Martini. Welcome, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I just have a few things for you tonight. Hope you can hear me fine.
Yes.
I'm not used to these computers, so these newfangled gadgets I have a little trouble with.
God, you got Ann to take care of you.
Anyway, let me just address briefly where we are in LAFCO and your project, because I did get a question about that from someone. LAFCO is not having a meeting tomorrow because we didn't have any agenda items, and that was the reason the meeting was canceled. As far as your project, you can go ahead with another project, but you're starting all over again. The only thing that the city has done is got all the environmental work out of the way, but the project you presented is dead. It was voted down by the people who live there, so you'd have to start all over again with a new project. And that project would have to be submitted to LAFCO, and it would go through the same kind of process of hearings. If it's, the difference would be if it's an uninhabited area, then there wouldn't need to be a vote. And uninhabited, I think, is less than, I don't know, 15 people or something like that in there. Where you proposed that was inhabited, they went over the threshold, so they got, they were able to vote on it. And by state law, it's not, we have to just comply with the state law. It's whoever lives there and not who owns the property when it's an inhabited area. So all the rules were followed. We had all the hearings. We were very transparent about what had happened. And so if the city of Newman wants to come back with another project, they would just have to go through LAFCO again. And so, I mean, that's up to you. We haven't received a formal proposal yet. So then LAFCO would take it up. It's all procedure, and it's, you know, it's all open to the public, and public can make comments on it and go to meetings. But as of today, there's been no new projects submitted. Although I know with Sarah has talked to your city manager, but there's no formal proposal on the table right now. But anyway, that's where we are with LAFCO. Okay, I have some road projects of what most of the road projects are really expensive ones. This next couple of years are going to be on the west side. As I've told you before, the Hills Ferry Road Bridge is in really bad shape. It can't be fixed, so it has to be replaced. That is scheduled for 2022. We're trying to get the last of the funding of that now. There is a rush on that because, you know, rush for government is like snail's pace for private industry, but it is moving along to get the money from the federal government. It has to get started by 2022. So that is moving along. Also, the bridge over Kilburn Road, Aurora Stemba Creek, that one is fully funded, and that one will begin next year at some time. Now, that bridge is very old, and it cannot, it's weight limited for trucks, so only small trucks can go over it. So it's another complete replacement. It's like the 7th Street Bridge is not on the west side, but that one is in really, really bad shape. And that one also has to be replaced too. And that's like about a $60 million project. So it's very expensive to replace the bridge. The Crow's Landing Road Bridge over the San Joaquin River is just about ready to start. I've got, that one is fully funded, and most of the money, of course, comes from the federal government. It has been advertised. The bids are due at the end of the month, like just in another week or so. And once we pick the contractor, the work is supposed to begin near immediately, sometime this winter. So the contractors will submit the bids, and then they'll be analyzed, and we'll pick the bids, and we'll be ready to start for at least the Crow's Landing Road Bridge. And then this last week, I was talking to our Public Works Director, and he told me they did some more analysis on the Las Palmas Bridge, which is the bridge over the San Joaquin River into Patterson. And that's turned out to be in worse shape than what they anticipated. And it's most likely that that bridge will have to be completely replaced also. They were going to do some repair on it, but apparently it may not be worth fixing the bridge, and it might have to be replaced. So these are all really expensive projects. And between, some of our Metro Rail money will go into them, but it's mostly federal money. 80 to 90% of the money comes from the feds through a gas tax and diesel tax. So there's going to be a whole lot of money spent on the West Tide trying to fix this stuff. And I've never seen so many bridge projects in the county as we have right now. But the bridges are old and they're in bad shape, and they're just going to have to be replaced. They're vital to have the bridge over these rivers, and so they're just going to have to be replaced. And we have a line on most of the money for it. The one we don't is the Las Palmas Bridge. And once we figure out what that's going to cost and what we have to do, we'll get a line for the money. But the Hills Ferry Road Bridge looks good for funding. Hilburn Bridge over Aurora Stemma Creek is funded. 7th Street Bridge is on its way to be funded. It's most of the way there. Crow's Landing Bridge over the San Joaquin River is fully funded and ready to start. And so we'll see about Las Palmas. So anyway, there's a lot going on over there. Not so much in the road projects, but the bridges. And to tell you, there's nothing more expensive than replacing a bridge. Okay, as far as the Crow's Landing Air Base, the financing district has completed its last meeting. So this is an increment financing similar to the way redevelopment agencies worked in the past. It just, you have a zero tax base because the county owns the land and there's really no buildings on it. So as the buildings are built, it'll be 100% will go, the property taxes will go into the fund to help develop the infrastructure. This is still a little ways off. We don't expect any buildings to be started there, but the county is going to put in $22 million next year to get the ball rolling there. We're going to try and get some federal grants also. It really takes about 30 million to get the thing started. Then that is started means bringing in utilities, bringing the roads in the storm draining system, which is pretty expensive there because of the creek and the slope of the land. And the water system, the pumps, which we're going to hook up the little town of Crow's Landing with, and then hooking into the city of Patterson's source system. So just to get started is about $30 million. So we expect to have the groundbreaking there sometime in the spring. Although I won't be on the board at that time, I will come back for that. That's been a tremendous amount of work and effort to get us to where we are today. After a really bad start about 15 years ago, we finally got everything straightened out. So anyway, financing plan is done. By the way, today we had the county budget was passed. It was a long meeting today. The budget this year surpassed $1.5 billion, which is just the most it's ever been. A lot of that, or not a lot of it, but the big increase was because of this COVID-19, $96 million from the feds on that, plus money from FEMA and money came in through emergency services for testing and protective gear, business grants, even some of the cities, we try and compensate you for some of your losses. But it did pass, and all the departments are funded. We had to use a little bit of reserves to make it balanced this year because the sales tax had dropped a little bit, but we needed to keep the services up to where they need to be. But at least that's passed. The timeline on the business grants is about, and it won't be next week, it'll be the week after before we award the money. We got so many applications, about 1,200 of them, that we're not done analyzing them yet. So we have staff working on that, but they have to go through them pretty carefully. And then we'll sort them out, and then we will award the money. This is from $25,000 to $50,000 for the businesses that were mostly severely impacted by the COVID-19 virus. And that is, as you know, restaurants, hotels, nail salons, barber shops, you name it. There's a lot of business were really severely impacted. So we're trying to give them some grant money to at least help. And because I know they certainly need it. And I think that's about it for the budget there. Oh, by the way, I heard that today, just before I left the county, that I don't have anything in front of me that can prove this, but the governor has opened up the nail salons today statewide. And what we'd heard also that the restaurants were approved for indoor dining at a 25% level. So if you have 4 tables, you can have 1 inside. Now you can still eat outside, but at least there's some indoor dining now. And nail salons, which have really been severely impacted in this state, as they've essentially been closed since the end of March, but they can now open. And we just heard that this afternoon. And then just the last thing, the healthcare task force has got its art essay contest going on now. Eat healthy, live long, and live strong is our theme this year. I've made the presentations in all the schools, Gustine, Newman, and Patterson. School boards are all on board with it. It's went out to the students, and the deadline for the entries is November 4th. And then about the first few days of December, we'll give out the awards for the winners of the contest and have our 2021 calendar ready for distribution. And that's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
I have a couple for you. Yeah, I have a couple for you. One is that on the Pillsbury Bridge and all the bridges that are basically looking for replacement, and I think we talked about this maybe a year or so ago about the bridge replacements. Are you guys still doing the traffic study in terms of how this is going to affect commuters and some of the farmers in the areas?
Probably the one that's going first would be the Crow's Landing Bridge. That will remain open. That one is not being completely replaced. It's being repaired and widened to 3 lanes, which is essentially is going to be a 4-lane road, but we have to call it 3 for the funding. That road will not be closed. the Hills Ferry Road, the bridge over the river will be replaced, but it will remain open. I'm not sure how if they're going to build a bridge alongside of it, probably. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but Public Works Director told me that that road would not be closed. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just one lane over there for a while and you had to have traffic control. Not likely that it was going to be 2 lanes over it, but at least it will not be closed because the detour would be pretty extensive. Now, the 7th Street Bridge will be closed. That is, there's no place to put another bridge except exactly where that one is. So that bridge will be torn down and replaced, and that road, 7th Street in Modesto, will be closed for 1.5 years.
I only say that simply because I think that if these projects move forward, that the public needs to know this well in advance so that they know what they're going to be hit with in reference to it. Because sometimes these projects come along and nobody knows what's happening in reference to the traffic. So I only say that because you're there in reference to the Board of Supervisors, that when these projects are handed out, that they basically come in there with some type of report, a study in terms of how the traffic is going to be along. And one last thing, D, is that I'm really glad to see that Mr. Boggs stayed on for the Crow's Landing project. I think that's a winner. You guys have, really kept a good guy on that's going to make this project.
Yeah, that's his project. We have him on as a contract employee there to try and get that project going. And he's been instrumental in getting everything done. So he wanted to stay on, and we really didn't have anybody who could replace him. So he stays on. As far as the bridges, I'm sure that you'll get a good rundown from our Public Works Department on how we're going to handle the traffic during construction, because these, a lot of these bridges are going to be completely replaced. Now, Crow's Landing Road Bridge will not be. And I don't know what we're going to do with the Las Palmas Bridge yet. It's turned out to be more of a project than what we were anticipating. Now, I can tell you the Hillburn Road bridge over Orrisnema Creek will be closed. I know that one will. And it takes longer to do the environmental work and get the money than it takes to build the bridge. I can tell you that. Building the bridge is the easy part. Right. It's just getting the money and going through all the environmental documents. It takes forever. But I can tell you that one will be closed. But it's a road that's not that many people use. It's not that big a bridge, and hopefully we can get that built in 3-4 months and open it up. But it'll be a nice bridge. Should last for 100 years. Actually, Kilburn Bridge actually right now is, I don't know if I have this here. It's more. It was built in 1918. So the taxpayers got their money's worth out of that bridge. It's just got to go. It's got I think a 15-ton limit capacity on it. But I'm sure we'll keep you informed on when we get started on that, what you can expect if we have to reroute traffic or close down the bridge for one lane. We'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you, Dee.
Thank you, Jim, very much. Any other comments from the council? If not, we're going to move on to item 12, item from the city manager and staff. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Before our next meeting, we're going to go ahead and have the fall cleanup. So the fall cleanup, the dates on the fall cleanup are October 5th through October 10th. Please, everyone, get that on your calendar. If you want information, a little bit more information about that, you can go to the city's social media pages, including Facebook, as well as to the city website. It's on the latest news there. That'll give you the dates and times on there. But again, October 5th through October 10th. I'm sorry, I may have said 12th, but October 10th. Mayor, we're just working on some more things, but the staff is probably going to talk a little bit more about those. Allie's been working hard on the farmers market that's coming up, and she's going to share those details with you. I know Catherine's been working hard on some the YOLO intersection project. We got some new sidewalks coming in over by at Fig and YOLO. We've been working on the Newman conservation community conservation area and the environmental document that goes along with that. As you know, we received a grant for $600,000 to put in 10 acres of wetlands out there, restored wetlands out there. And so that's going to be good. When we do those wetlands, we'll be working with the Turlock Mosquito Abatement District to make sure that they are mosquito-friendly wetlands. As you know, we put it out on our social media on Friday. We did get a notice from Turlock Mosquito Abatement District that there have been 2 cases of West Nile in the Newman area. And some of the mosquitoes in their traps have tested positive for West Nile. So please, if you're, try to avoid the dusk and dawn areas. That's when the mosquitoes are most active. Wear light colored clothing, long sleeves, jeans, long pants and stuff to try to keep away from those mosquitoes. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have, Council.
Any questions for Michael tonight?
Hey, Michael, this is Councilman Graham. While I guess one of the benefits of online means is I can look at things while we're talking and going over different things. I was able to easily go to our website and be able to pull up all the meetings that we've had. All the city council meetings are available. When you click on the agendas are there and have the correct start time of 6 o'clock for the Zoom meetings. We've also talked about the times in those meetings. So if anybody's watched those meetings, they would know that we've kept the time at 6 o'clock for these meetings. However, the main calendar does show 7 o'clock. So if we can adjust that, that was probably just an overlook because those calendars are set in long before this and probably just got overlooked with all the COVID stuff. So if we could adjust that on those calendars for the time being, that would be great. That's all.
You're talking about the Google Calendar, correct, Council Member?
Yeah, the Google Calendar within the page. But if you actually click on the agendas, they all say it. And like I said, we've talked about it in meetings. So anybody that would have watched one of the meetings would have realized that we had adjusted it to 6 o'clock.
Fair enough. We will make the adjustments. It's on what Councilmember Graham is talking about for the rest of the council is under the events calendar section. If you click on the events calendar there, it kind of talks about all the different events that are going on there. We'll probably need to go through that. COVID has changed sometimes and some of the activities that go on there, like Kaju Kempo and some of those other things. So we'll make the appropriate adjustments on the Google Calendar, Councilman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Any other questions for Michael? If not, we're going to move on to Allie. Allie, are you there? Are you getting ready for the farmer's market?
You walk the dog.
Okay. Well, we're going to miss out on her report tonight. We're going to move on to Chief Richardson. Do you have anything for us tonight, Chief?
I do, Mayor. I'll just update you on last week's events. It was kind of an outlier week for the Newman Police Department. We had 2 pretty major incidents within the city within a span of a couple days. Last Tuesday at about 9 p.m., we were dispatched to the 1600 block alleyway between Main and 33, so right behind AutoZone, for a shooting that occurred. This shooting, in all it appears to be gang related. We're not getting complete cooperation from the victim. There was no serious injuries in this shooting. However, it's still a huge concern for our community. And then I'll touch on Thursday morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning. We were dispatched to the 1900 block of T Street for a assault with a deadly weapon, shots fired. We arrived on scene to find a male victim deceased. That incident we turned over to the Stanislaus County Sheriff's Homicide Division. They came out and investigated it for us. On Saturday, we were notified that the suspect in that the main suspect in that case called and turned himself in, and subsequent to that, another individual was arrested later that day. So both subjects involved in that homicide are in custody, and I just want to clarify that that was not a random act either. That was a very targeted incident without getting into too many details. but I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
I have a question for Chief. I know that especially our residents here, we've been hearing these loud sounds of fireworks or either your gunshots in the area. I said that to say this. I got a phone call from one of the residents, basically, who have, I think he knows who the people are. I'm waiting for the information. Once I get it, Chief, I want to turn it over to you for you guys to look into it, because this is very frightening. We're not sure whether or not it is fireworks, because some of that is so rapid it sounds like a automatic pistol. And I'm pretty sure if you live here, you've been hearing these sounds, and that's a concern for me and a lot of the residents in the area.
Yeah, I believe you're discussing what happened on Friday evening. We were dispatched several times, just sounds of shots fired. It was fireworks. We did determine that by the officers, and it appears to be happening just outside of the city in the county.
Okay, any other questions for the chief tonight? Thank you, Chief. Keep safe. We thank you for keeping our town safe too. With that,
Thank you.
Lou, do you have anything for us tonight?
Sure. First of all, it's really great to see you guys. Looks like y'all doing very well and weathering this whole incident like it was nothing, which is great. Our city is also doing the same financially. We're very healthy. We're doing good. We're living within our means. We're not out wasting money like some would like to believe. As far as during this COVID crisis, been keeping a firm eye on our finances and seeing how it's been affecting us. As you know, the last 4 months of last fiscal year were the beginning part of this, and we're currently still in it for this new fiscal year. We've been receiving money through the CARES Act, which covers our costs for improvements that we're doing to the city facilities and some of our payroll costs for having to adjust to this new event. We're doing fine. The city is able to live within its means, continue to provide the same services we've been providing all along. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Lou tonight? Anyway, thank you, Lou. We appreciate all you do for us.
You're welcome.
Catherine, are you on the line tonight?
I am, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
Michael went over most of our projects. We are moving forward with some sidewalks on YOLO and then another piece of sidewalk on FIG. Those are infill projects that will add sidewalks where there's none exist today. We also are going to do a slurry project with restriping on Main Street, the middle 3 or 4 blocks. Those are ready to go out to bid, and we'll be putting those out in the next couple months and then awarding for a springtime construction. The well project is moving forward. They are preparing to the site for the tank and bringing in the construction trailers, and it's proceeding as at a normal pace. It is a very big project and much needed. And we're doing a lot of projects and coordination between all the NCCA, which is the Newman Conservation Community Conservation Area out on Canal School. Those projects are proceeding with the environmental documents, and then the project that is funded is proceeding as intended. They're doing a we're in the planning phase now, and so when we start getting documents that you can look at, we'll be bringing those forward. We're also doing a highway specific plan update, which will really involve the community. That project was just you just awarded it to RRM, and so they'll be presenting us with a community outreach plan and we'll be taking a look at the plan on how we'll get the community involved, and then we'll look at the Highway 33 corridor and the existing specific plan and what updates will be needed for that plan. And then we're working on 2 projects on Inyo, one on Highway 33 in Inyo, which is the intersection improvements. That's moving forward at a snail's pace because we have PG&E and Caltrans involved. And so it's very time consuming to go through the required steps to get everybody on the same page and get that project approved, but we're moving forward. And then we also have a project for the intersection and some utilities on Canal School and Inyo. Canal School's really in bad shape, and so we're working on that project, and we're on the utility part, we're about 60%, and we're redefining the scope to include a little bit additional roadway on Canal School to make sure we do a complete project out there. Along with all of our normal duties that Public Works takes care of on a daily basis. They're starting to ramp up to get lights in. We're still going to be putting some Christmas decorations up, which will come here pretty quickly. And we're adjusting all the irrigation, and I'd just like to remind the public to, as the weather cools off, start adjusting your irrigation timers so you don't need to water your outside irrigation as much. Start conserving a little bit more, cut those timers back. And that's my update. I'll take any questions.
This is Councilman Grimm. Oh, this is Councilman Grimm. Could you explain what the importance of us adding that other well and the tank is, and what why the city actually needs it, and why we're going forward?
So the Well 10 project has been in the works for quite some time, and it came about because Well 5, an existing well, exceeded the maximum contaminant level for chromium-6. Chromium-6, the MCL, which is the maximum contaminant level, was 10, and we exceeded it. So we had to come up with a solution to be able to provide potable drinking water that does not exceed that limit for the community. And so the engineers did alternative studies and determined that putting in a new well with a storage tank was a good option that was more cost effective than building, say, a surface water treatment plant or something like that. So we applied for a loan and grant. We were able to obtain a loan. And what that does for our system, even though the MCL for the chromium-6 got bumped back up while litigation occurs, we expect it to come back in, and we may not be able to use Well 5 without treatment. So we'll have this Well 10 to be able to provide water. The initial water sampling indicates that the water quality is a lot better than with no detectable limits of the chromium-6 or nitrates for that matter. So it's a good water quality source, and that was a good location where we could get to that good water. We're tying it into the existing system, and so what that will do is it'll provide capacity for our system, where at now, if we lose a well in July, we can lose we would have to go into stage 3, mandatory conservation. Nobody would be able to water outside, no schools, no parks. And it would, our pressure would probably drop citywide until we got those repairs done. And it could be catastrophic if we can't turn that well repair down quickly. So by putting in this well, we'll have a 1 million gallon storage tank. And so that's going to be able to provide system backup, and we'll be able to do regular maintenance, annual maintenance. We can take a well offline. We can do things that we should be doing to the wells, but when they're running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're unable to do those types of things during the summer. And so this is just going to improve the whole water system for the entire city. It's going to stabilize pressures. We have one storage tank. It's the elevated tank. It only holds about, I think, 80,000 gallons, maybe 100,000 gallons. And that just stabilizes pressure, but it doesn't really give you any storage capacity. So now we'll have some storage capacity. So it's just an all around smart move for the community. To be able to have this additional water supply for the community.
And just two more real quick questions. These should be pretty quick. What would be the cost of, say, having to do a water treatment plant compared to this well? And not only the cost of the plant, but yearly maintenance of that plant and workers compared to the cost of a well with the tank. And didn't we get special financing on this well?
We did. Lou did a bang up job getting us, and Michael getting us some special financing because we are a disadvantaged community. And so we're able to get this loan over a long-term, low interest, could be zero interest terms. And so it's going to have a small impact on the ratepayers. And the difference in cost would be minimum of water treatment plant would be over $20 million just to construct it. And then it would, you have to also worry about where you're going to get the water to run through that treatment plant. So then you deal with different water agencies to be able to obtain that surface water. And so there's a lot of issues that go with it. They have to be manned in a different way, more operators. There's a lot more chemicals, a lot more treatment process. We just disinfect our water because groundwater is a better quality than surface water. And so it would be, when we did the alternative study, it told us that the best thing to do would be able to be put a well in instead of a surface water treatment plant.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question for you, Kathy. When those community meetings start taking place, could you keep me informed of that? Because I like to basically maybe attend a few of those meetings.
Of course. We're working out the plan how those are going to look, whether they be Zoom or we do live meetings, depending on how this COVID guidelines dictate. But we'll have a plan and we'll look at that, and then we'll definitely be sharing that, posting it out on social media, and we'll make sure that we let you know for sure.
Okay, great. And I know you don't hear this quite often, but let me just say it. I know the city that you came from before you came to Newman, they're probably sad that you left, but it's a blessing that we got you. And I just want to tell you, you do a fantastic job, and I'm really appreciate you here in the city of Newman.
Thank you so much. I love all my cities. I love Newman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hey, Mayor. Mayor,
What's
I
that?
believe Ally's back on the line now.
It's too late. We don't do
Well, she wants to invite everybody out to the farmers
Ally,
market.
you know I don't feel that way about you. Please give your respect.
I guess so. I apologize, Mayor, council members. Good evening. I apologize. My phone disconnected and I had no idea how to fix it. So I jumped on one line and then I'm back now. So apologies for that. With regards to everything going on, I know Michael kind of touched subject of me letting you know more information. We are moving forward with our farmers market this Friday. We are also doing Newman Eats. So it's a total of 2 events all in one at different times and different, I guess same location because it's in the general vicinity, but different locations. So for the farmers market, where you'll find your produce and your crafts, will take place on the 900 block and of Fresno, and on the grassy area of our 900 area plaza block area. And then our Newman Eats will take place on the 1400 block of Main Street. There'll be different hours as well. The fall harvest market will take place from 3:30 to 4:30. I'm sorry, 3:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And then the Newman Eats will start at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. in order to mitigate and kind of not have too many large crowds. We're kind of staggering it together. That way we try to avoid a large amount of people in one area. Now, with that being said, we've now doubled the number of vendors that we had last year at our first one compared to this year. So this year we'll have a total of 30 vendors, including the restaurants, who will partake in this market as well in the Main Street Eats portion of it. They are allowed outdoor seating. Like always, the food vendors will not be allowed outdoor seating. So they're more of a grab and go type of meal if you're interested in that. With that being said, I know Public Works has worked a whole bunch in trying to get us some downtown lighting. Thank you guys. Thank you, Public Works. And we should have more lighting in our area. Apart from that, we do have the police department, who's helped out a lot lately and made a great presence in our market as well. So I wanted to thank them as well. And in regards to our farmers market, we're ready to rock and roll. So definitely will be an awesome sight to see. Of course, COVID permitting and everybody staying safe, being healthy, wearing their face masks will take place. So hopefully we get to see a few of you guys down there. Now, in regards to Trunk or Treat, I am speaking on behalf of the partnership and Miss Rosalie Hurst in regards to no Trunk or Treat event this year. But we are partnering with them for Halloween at some type of event. We will be doing a haunted house contest, so a front yard decorating contest with the whole community. And we also will be doing a Halloween costume, all done via social, whether it be social media or photos for the judging. It'll be a costume contest, and it'll have 3 age divisions. It'll have a peewee, minor, and major. So it'll be 1 to 6 years of age, 7 to 13, and 14 to 18. So 3 categories for our community and our young kids to really still be able to dress up, enjoy their Halloween, and be able to compete. And the front yard contest as well. I'll be giving you guys more information here in the near future, but please stay aware that we will have a lot of information going out social media and on our social network site and in the newspaper. Apart from that, I can check out for any.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Allie. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's okay. Apart from that, I
You
can turn around to council for any questions,
Yeah, well, all these projects that you work on, I think, the downtown project with the restaurants being able to serve people outside has just been a tremendous boost to the public. I know that it's been well received, and especially by me. But anyway, thank you for all you do, and I'm looking forward to the farmers market, and it's going to be a cool thing.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any other comments for Allie tonight?
No. Yes, job well done down there, Allie. Great job.
Thank you, and then all the departments that are helping out too as well, and then Michael Holland helping, make this a great event and supporting it.
Thank you. We had to. Okay, we're going to move on. Hopefully, Fire Chief Bowen, are you on the line?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I appreciate you saving the best staff member for last.
No. Let's get this straight, Chief. The last person to speak is me.
No, I said staff. No, I just want to follow up on the dispatch concern that was presented to you guys a few weeks ago or a couple weeks ago. I did work with SR 911 and Series, and we did come up with a workaround. So we are seeing an increase, or I should say a decrease in the amount of time that our fire department is getting dispatched to local EMS calls. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, and I can answer any questions you guys.
Chief, just a question for the state as a whole. As far as fires, are we making any progress? You get the news and everything, but you're on the front line, so you probably know more than anyone else. If progress has been made with a lot of these fires that are very difficult to control.
Correct. So currently, I know of about 3 significant fires. We do have 1 local firefighter deployed to the Fresno area, the Creek Fire. They are working as hard as they can. I know they brought in some out-of-state resources to also assist. Locally, all our fires are cold now, so you probably saw an increase in the air quality and all. But yeah, we do have some significant fires still burning.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for the chief tonight? If not, thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to the council. Casey, do you have anything for us tonight?
Yeah, just real quick. I'm kind of glad that hopefully the governor's starting to open up some stuff and we're able to get back to some normalcy. Some of these businesses that are tied down because they have state licenses and that, hopefully they're being able to get back to business and, you know, start providing for their business and their families and that. Hopefully this thing, hopefully we're coming near an end of this thing sooner or later. I'm hoping, but just everybody stay safe and have a good night.
Thank you, Casey. Leroy, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just want to say I kind of feel the same way with Case, but basically I don't want us to get this idea that things are really okay, because they're not. And all over the country, you know, things are sparking up again. So just be safe. Wear the mask.
Okay, thank you. That's good advice, Leroy. Murray, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just to echo what Leroy said, stay safe, wear your mask. You're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I heard
Well,
that, Mary.
Thank you, Murray. I say the same thing, so wear your mask and protect me. But anyway, I'd like to thank everyone for all their input into the meeting tonight. Ran a little bit longer, but sometimes meetings have to be longer to get everything. And with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Did we hear from Tom Helen?
I'm sorry.
Tom's our legal counsel.
Oh, he is this evening.
I have nothing to add to your long meeting.
Well, wait a second. He's not on the council. Tom, you're welcome to say anything you like. You know that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I'm here to answer any questions you all may have.
Well, we have a lot of questions, but
We'll do it offline. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. Anyway, thank you. It's good to see you, Tom.
Thanks. You all too.
Okay, with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So moved.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are
Aye.
adjourned. Thank you, good people.
Thank you.
Good night,
Hey, guys.
gentlemen
Good
and
night.
young
Great
ladies.
night.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Okay, bye.